So welcome to the virtual campus of the Adult Learner Summer School. So at the moment we are just putting on the screen what do we already know about campus. There's great things that are going on there already. So very big, we've got two bigs, Parkinson Building. Yeah, there's lots of signposts. Sometimes though, to be honest, some of the signposts are a little bit confusing, as I've learned myself. Different building styles, yeah, there's loads of great architecture on campus, really varied. It's beautiful. Great music department, lovely. So have we done? Have we all finished? That's great. Thank you for that, guys. So just before we start, obviously I've tried to include things that I think people will find useful, but I'd really like to know if there's anything that you want to know about campus. Now, I'm no expert, so I might not be able to answer, but I will try and include the information if I can in the session, and if not, I can try and signpost to you afterwards. But if there is anything that you want to know about campus, so have a little think, and again, just use the whiteboard, and I'd really like to know if there's anything that you want to know about the University of Leeds campus. Russell, that could include you and Rosanna, because you haven't really been at the university very long. So if there's anything you want to know about campus. Anyone? You just open to just learn what you can? Russell's having a think. Well, hopefully I will tell you a lot about campus today that you don't know, including Russell. I hope to tell you something. Can you enter any departments building? That's a great question. Where is it? Wonderful, yeah. Brilliant. Oh, I'm rotating that. That's interesting. How long is the university there? Is it open to the public? Fantastic. These are really good questions, guys. Love it. How many libraries are there? Are there any differences? Again, perfect. Great questions. Are there any uni buses? Can you use the gym? This is perfect. Anything else? So we've started now. This is great, guys. So I'd like to think from those questions, I'm covering everything and I know the answer. Linda, have you got a question you'd like to say out loud? That's great.
Oh, sorry, I'm just struggling to write in the whiteboard thing. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong.
No, that's fine. So can you see the little T above the slides?
Yeah, so I've ticked on that, and then when I press on it,
and then click on the actual space, and then you should be able to type. If not, you can just type it in the chat and I can always copy it across. It's completely up to you, Linda, if you...
Right, okay, when I click on the box, it's bringing up another little box, but then it flashes back off straight away, so it's not letting me do anything.
Right, okay, if it's doing that, then just type it in the chat, Linda, if that's all right, and I'll copy it across. That's...
All right, thanks, Jenny, thank you.
All right. So let me just double check childcare facilities. So I think I'm just going to make a note of a couple of things because there's a couple that I just need to remind myself of. And differences is the mature students. That's good, Linda. Thank you. Childcare. Where is it? Uni buses. Fantastic. Is that your lot, everybody? Do we have anything else? Oh, no. Everybody done? Fantastic. Right, so we'll move on. So let's start. Is it moved on? Oh, I think my computer's being a little bit slow. I might have moved on 2 slides there by accident. So let's just wait and see. No, that's it. Lovely. So let's begin. So I've put a nice aerial shot here of campus. So the campus is pretty special as universities go these days, and it's actually a one-site campus, so everything is in one place. So you've got other universities where they have different little mini sites for different areas of work and expertise, but we've got one actual campus. So if you can see my little arrow on the screen, you can see different areas maybe that you reckon in Leeds. So this is Leeds City Centre. You can see the First Direct Arena here. This is the LGI. So the University of Leeds campus pretty much takes up the whole middle of this area. Yeah, so it's really quite large. Yeah, and I've measured it because I've always been interested in it. It's 3 kilometres squared. So at the widest point, it's nearly 2 kilometres across, and it's pretty oval shape, if you like. So it's really quite big. There's nearly 40,000 students. So somebody put 30,000 students as one of the things that they knew about campus. So that's so it's just under 40,000. A mixture of undergraduates, so people doing undergraduate degrees, and postgraduate people, also research. There's about 2,000 part-time students, and there's over 3,000 mature students. So answering your question, Linda, there is mature students, and there's over 3,000 students. So about 10% of the population are mature students. And there's also 8,000 staff members. So that's quite a large number compared to students. And there's also 170 countries represented on campus. So it's a really great, diverse cultural place to be, and it's a wonderful community. So again, feeling a little bit sort of not teary, but yeah, quite sad that I can't be there at the moment, because it is a great place to be. Has anybody got any questions before I move on? No. At any point, if anybody wants to ask any questions, please do feel free. Just pop them in the chat at any point, or pop your hand up and we can turn your microphone on, or you can turn your microphone on and ask the question. That's absolutely fine. Same for you, Russell, as well. If you want to add anything at any point, do let me know. So this is the tour we're going to do today. So again, from above, just showing you where everything is. So you can see this is Leeds in this direction, and this is coming up Woodhouse Lane, and this is the Parkinson Building just here. So that building that's pretty iconic, that most of you hopefully will have seen at some point. And we're going to go on this route around, so pretty big loop right round the campus, and just quick pit stop. This is the furthest west side of campus. This is Hyde Park here, which again some of you might know. And then some of the secret places of campus. Hi Shno, welcome to the session. Again, we've just sort of started to just cover a few areas of campus, but again, I know you've attended some sessions because I recognise your name, so please do feel free to just use the chat and ask any questions as we go along. Okay, so yeah, let's begin. So yeah, so the Parkinson Building. So this is a pretty iconic building that you will have seen, I'm sure, as either from wherever you live on the top of the hill, or as you're going into Leeds. So this building has quite a large middle space, an exhibition space that we use for different conferences and different fairs. There's loads of things going on all the time on campus, and this is one of the places where some of the things take place. There's also access to one of the 4 libraries on campus. So again, somebody asked about the libraries and what the differences are. So this is one of the libraries that we're going to be visiting today, and it houses mostly the social sciences books, law books and art books. It's a really impressive reading room in the middle, and this is based on the British Museum in London. So it's a real beautiful space. So I definitely would recommend trying to visit this at some point. There's also, in this Parkinson Building, there's 2 galleries. So there's the Treasures of the Brotherton, and there's also the Stanley and Audrey Burton Gallery. And again, answering one of the questions earlier, these are open to the public. So again, campus is open to the public. You can go onto campus and you can go to these 2 galleries as well. The Treasures of the Brotherton is fascinating. It's all exhibitions all the time are changing constantly. So you can go all the time and you'll probably see something new. Again, I have some notes because I can't remember all this information, but the Treasures of the Brotherton, they normally do have sort of books and things like that. So some of the materials by the Brontes, Elizabeth Gaskell, and also manuscripts by some of the finest contemporary writers. There's also collections, so they swap these round. They've got things like hair belonging to Mozart and Beethoven, so fascinating things like that. And they've also got some of the Shakespeare's and Oscar Wilde's original manuscripts as well. So there's really fascinating stuff. One of my favourite things I think I've seen in Treasures of the Brotherton is a really old autonomy, is that the right word? Anatomy, that's the word, book. And it was from really old times. I can't even remember the year it was from, but they obviously used it for surgery, and you could actually see some blood on the pages. So I know it's a little bit grim maybe, but just really fascinating things. And again, the Stanley and Audrey Burton Gallery, again, it has loads of innovative temporary exhibitions and displays, and which do change regularly as well. So I definitely recommend having a look on there. So just sorry, I skipped at the beginning as well. Just somebody asked, the University of Leeds first started in 1831. So they first started then in 1831, and they opened a school to teach medicine, which was the first outside of London, Oxford and Cambridge. So there you go. So yeah, so medicine is one of the schools with on campus, and the campus is made up of lots of different faculties. So there's about 8 faculties, and each faculty has lots of different schools attached to it. And I tried to find out how many degrees that the university offers, and you know, I couldn't find it anywhere. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. Oh, that book's from 1600, Russell. Thank you for that. Yeah, so it's a really old stuff that's really fascinating in that space. Has anybody got any questions? Nope, that's fine. Okay, we'll move on. So I've tried to make it a little bit interactive as well, and also get you to learn some interesting stuff you might not know already, including using the whiteboard again, or again, Linda, if you can't use the whiteboard, you could just put the letter in the chat. Just mark by which letter you think. Which bird has been nesting on the top of the Parkinson Tower for the last few years, and it's all successfully bred chicks? It bred 3 chicks last year, which is really pretty extraordinary. So if you just do not know, Russell, so take a guess, guys. So which do we think? What sort of birds do we think nested on the top of the tower? C, so we've got a couple of C's, a B from Alex, a few B's. So yeah, so it's peregrine falcons. So peregrine falcons have successfully nested on top of the tower, and we've actually got a camera on them, on a nest cam. So if you Google peregrine falcons University of Leeds, you can actually watch them. Unfortunately, they're not actually nesting this year for the first time, and I wonder whether that's something to do with the fact there might be less pigeons around because there's less people on campus. Yes, storks would be hilarious. But yeah, so I wonder whether it's something to do with there's less pigeons around. But yeah, so each year it's about May time. I'd definitely Google that if it comes into your head, and you can see the lovely the falcons, and normally they're chicks. Okay. So next is the Laidlaw Library. So this is, again, one of the 4 libraries on campus. So we've seen the Brotherton, and this is the Laidlaw. So again, you might recognise this building because it's quite new, and it's not far from the Parkinson Building. So it's just down the road from there, and inside, again, it's just a great space. They've really thought about how the students can best get out of it. So there's loads of group space, so for group work, and there's also study rooms you can book. So I know people on PHE regularly book these rooms in the past to have study groups, so you've got your own space where you study together. And this is also the home of Skills at Library. So Skills at Library is a special academic skills facility on campus that people can go to if they're wanting to brush up on any skills at all, academic skills. Also, they have loads of good workshops. So I know people, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a really slow reader. And they have things like speed reading workshops that really, really help. Loads of things on presentation skills. So definitely worth having a look at this. And like Russell says, that's great. You use this library quite a lot for professional studies. In fact, lifelong learning centre students use this. I think there's a bit of everything in this library. Is there, Russell?
Yeah, for the better part. I've been in some other libraries, but this is, I must spend 60–70% of my time in here for most subjects. It's really comprehensive.
Yeah, No, that's great. Yeah, I get the feeling, because I know some science students have used this space before, and I know learning and teaching as well. So yeah, so this is quite a broad spectrum library, so that's great. Again, anybody got any questions as we're going along, please do ask them, because I'm very aware that I'm just rambling on, but this is actually really nice for me because it's making me think about campus, and I do miss it. So there we go, another question. Let's see if we can embarrass again. Let's see. So what is housed at the top of the Laidlaw Library? So I'd like to think Russell should know this, because you can actually see them out of one of the windows. So what do you think is housed on top of the Laidlaw Library? So I'm guessing Russell does know. So guys, you put so knows B, lovely. Is there anything else? Again, you can mark on whiteboard or put it in the chat. So we've got 2 C's, 2 B's. Yeah, so it is C. It is bees. So there's some beehives on the top of the Laidlaw Library. And so we are quite into sustainability. There's a whole department that's dedicated to it. And one of the things that they do is, again, keep bees to try and help obviously the bees are becoming less common, so it's try to encourage them a little bit on campus. So yeah, so beehives. Sorry, my computers, do they have, do you know, I think they do show. I've seen them before. Is it harvesting the right word? I don't know, but I have seen them before. You can see the beekeepers up there, and they do, I don't know what they do with the honey, but yeah, they do. So next, some wildflowers. Yeah, they might do, Russell. I've not been up there for quite a while. But yeah, I think they probably do have some sort of flowers up there as well. So EC Stoner Building. So again, if you have or haven't been on campus, you might not know, but this building has got the second longest corridor in Europe. So it's pretty impressive. It's not the prettiest building in the world. It's grade 2 listed. So obviously we're quite limited what we can do with it. It has had a bit of a renovation over the past few years, so a bit of a paint here and there. It's quite central to campus, and it's the School of Computing and Physics live in this building. But again, a lot of Lifelong Learning Centre students do have classes in this building, so there's seminar rooms. So Russell, I'm guessing for professional studies, you'll have some classes in this building. And would you just like to tell me, when you think of EC Stoner, Russell, what do you think? Do you find it confusing? Because this is what I hear from a lot of students.
It's very, very confusing to get around. There are basically, you can't walk from one end to the other in the main building from class to class. So you have to go in different entrances for different sections. It's very interesting. Once you figure it out, it's fine. But
yeah,
it's very interesting. Especially when you start off. There's a lot of late lessons I got, so trying to find my way around EC Stoner.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, so yeah, so Linda, you say it scares you. So it is such a big campus, but like Olivia says, you're never left on your own, and there's so many. We do take people from place to start with until you know exactly where you're going. Again, I mean, my colleague Paul, who I've worked with for 7 years, I think sort of 4 years ago, he had to ring me because he got lost in the School of Chemistry. So it's just what happens, I think, now and again. But there's lots of maps on campus, and everybody is very, very friendly. So you always just ask for help when you can't find somewhere. And I do not know where everything is because it's that massive. So yeah, so it was quite amusing when I did get that phone call from Paul asking me to come save him from the School of Chemistry, which is in the Parkinson Building. So you know, so one of the simpler buildings on campus. But yeah, EC Stoner is a little bit confusing to say. It's got a long corridor. You'd think it'd just have a nice corridor with rooms off, but it's not like that. But yeah, but it is. It's a pretty impressive building. I think, yeah, on this slide, I just wanted to show you just how big it is. So again, you can see here, this is the Parkinson Building, just for some, what's the word, just so you can get your bearings. And this is where we're based, in the Marjorie and Arnold Ziff building. But this is EC Stoner, and it actually goes all the way up to here on the School of Environment, so a corridor runs all the way through this building from one end to the other. So it's a really, really massive, a massive place. Yeah, Solomon, it is. It's a town in its own right, really. I mean, it's got a population of a town, and it's also got the amenities of a town as well. So it's sort of quite self-sufficient, really. But it's a wonderful place. It's so varied as well. So you never get bored. So another question. Which famous writer was once a professor of Icelandic literature? I'd love to know if Olivia knows the answer to these questions as well, because you've worked at the university for a long time.
I do, but I'm keeping quiet. But I don't know the answer to all of them, but I do this one because it's the School of English where I studied.
It is, oh yeah. Yeah, so D, no idea. Yeah, anybody else gonna take a guess? No. D, I think. Yeah. So we're getting there. So D is the right answer. You're not going to embarrass Linda. You don't need to know all the answers, Linda. It's fine. This is why I want you to try and learn things about campus. Again, Russell's been on campus for nearly 3 years now, and you weren't sure of the answer either. So yeah. So D. These are fun facts that not many people know about. So yeah, J.R.R. Tolkien, so obviously he personally wrote The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So he used to be a professor at the University of Leeds. So next is the Edge. So we asked this question, somebody asked this question about the gym and facilities. So if you're a student at the University of Leeds, you can use the Edge. Obviously, you still do have to pay for a membership, but it is a reduced membership. Just so you know, again, the facilities are absolutely fantastic. So if you are into the gym, obviously Russell's not, which is fine. Not everybody's into the gym. But if you are into the gym, it is a fantastic facility. And again, if you've got kids, they do sometimes in half term do cheaper like swimming lessons, like a swimming course over like the 5 days that's quite cheap. Again, that was a couple of years ago. It was a tenner, I think, for the like 5 days. It was really quite reasonable. I'm not sure how much it is now, but they do things again for kids and stuff, and they've got a climbing wall. So again, if you want to just do something different, you can do sort of training courses for like 3 weeks of climbing and stuff. So again, loads of different stuff, and classes again are fantastic, and they do everything from like yoga to insanity, which yeah, is obviously a bit of something for everybody, if it's your thing. So again, another question. Which team trained here during the London 2012 Olympics? So they've got a swimming pool in the Edge, as well as the climbing wall and the fitness suite. They've got squash courts as well. But when they were here for 2012, which team used the swimming pool? Do we think it was A, B, C, or D? So again, in the chat or on the board. So A, yeah, so we've got 2 A's. C, it's A. I love that Russell's learning as well. It's great. Yeah, so the answer is, so we've got a bit of a mixed board here, but it is A. So the China team used the swimming pool during the 2012 Olympics. So other things again that you might not know, but the Brownlee brothers actually both studied at the University of Leeds as well. Now, again, you might know the answer, but I think one did do a sports science degree. I think that was...
No, I don't know the answer, but I can Google it.
No, so Alice did sort of sports science, definitely. And I think Johnny did history. So didn't do, necessarily related degrees to triathlon running, but they also now have a Brownlee Centre at the University of Leeds, which actually is off campus, and it's near Wheatwood, sort of towards Adel. So that's the Brownlee Centre. So, personal gym, Solomon, that's good going. I know, yeah, I know a lot of my friends have been missing the gym as well, so that's a good idea, doing something at home. So, we're on to the Roger Stevens building. So, this, again, is a similar sort of style to the Easy Stoner building, and it's grade 2 listed, and it's full of lecture theatres. These seat from somewhere between sort of 20 people to 300 people, so they vary in size quite a lot. You might have some of your lectures in here. I don't know about you, Russell, do you have any lectures in here? Because these are obviously for quite large groups mostly.
I did a module in one of the lecture theatres on the 10th floor, strangely enough.
Lovely. So yes, so they do have, again, discovery modules with more students on there. That is quite a large, see quite large numbers. But there also is the home to the print and copy bureau, so that's somewhere where you might go for if you want to print anything out. And there's also a cafe in the basement, and you can see here there's a pond, and I really tried to find a recent picture of the pond because they've done it up and it looks beautiful. So they've started to they've got little islands in it, and they've tried, again with the sustainability, tried to make it, I think, so there's more pond life, and actually ducks that regularly breed here as well, and they've got a little duck house, which again I couldn't find a picture of, which made me quite sad, and again I miss the ducklings on campus at the moment. But yeah, there's also a red route. So this, as you can see from the picture on the top right where it says number 10, the red route actually joins the north and south of campus, so it makes it accessible for everybody. So there is a lift in the Roger Stephen building that takes you down to level 7, but from all the way from the top of campus near the engineering building, you can get from the top all the way to the hospital quite easily in a wheelchair, or if you're having accessibility needs. So that is something good to know, and a lot of it is indoors as well, which happens. So there we go, we've got the facts. Alistair did science, yeah, and history, there you go. So I do remember facts, that's great. Thank you, Olivia. Again, questions as we're going along, guys, please do ask. So this building, so this is the back of the Roger Stevens building. This building is much admired by which artist? So let's have a guess and see. So C. I'm guessing that you use logic for that, Joe, unless you really do know. So yeah, so it's C. Yeah, so Damien Hirst. So Damien Hirst, I don't know if you know, but he's from a sort of salt area, from this area. So again, using, if you do know artists, then he is from Yorkshire. So that would make sense, wouldn't it? But yeah, so Damien Hirst, just so you know, so he admires this building, which to be honest is quite odd because a lot of people think that this building's quite ugly. So yeah, but he admires it, which is always nice. So the sustainable garden. So this is a new place on campus, that's sort of been, well, I say new, but it's sort of started since I've been there. So it's over 8 years or 7 years. But it's a lovely green place on campus where they grow fruit, veg, there's herbs, and you can actually pick them your own. So when they're ready, you can actually pick them for free. So I've occasionally, especially at the end of the month, when I've not got that much money, I will pop there and you can get some beans, you can get herbs. You know, instead of going to the shop and getting, you know, a bag of coriander, you can go there and just grab a little bit. So it's a nice place to go and just remember there, and it's pretty central. Again, it's, yeah, a nice peaceful place, Russell, to be. And you can actually volunteer here as well if you want to. So if you don't have a garden at home but you do like gardening, you can actually volunteer and just do it here and there if you wanted to. So yeah, there's nice volunteer opportunities. There's also a garden on top of the Union building which you can volunteer in as well. So if you sort of look, and again it's so difficult, but if you look sort of under the bridgeway, straight through past the garden, that's where the School of Medicine is, and the Faculty of Biological Sciences, hence the picture of the labs. So there's loads of different labs in there, and there's also the Health Sciences Library. So again, this is the 3rd library that we've visited on campus, and this is, as it suggests, it houses most of the healthcare book related books. But again, when you're a student here, you're more than welcome to revise or study or do anything at any of the libraries. It doesn't necessarily have to just be, if you use the books there, you can use any of the libraries that you wish. Okay, we'll move on. So this is Bright Beginnings, and careers centre. These are quite close to each other, so that's why I've put them together. Not that they're sort of related to each other, but they're quite close to each other. So Bright Beginnings, just again, so somebody said about childcare, so there is a nursery on campus that's available for staff and students, and it's a great facility, again for pre-entry school kids. And then the careers centre is a place where you can go if you want help with your CVs. They do mock interviews, they do loads of different workshops and things which again are really helpful. They offer again great insight days, so you can potentially go to, I know they've done ones like at Wigan Council, so you can sort of talk to graduates who now work at the council after their degree to see how they find it. So they do loads of different visits to loads of different businesses, so you can find out more about what you want to maybe do when you finish studying. Obviously, we do at the Lifelong Learning Centre also have a careers service as well, a careers guidance officer as well. So you can always come here to the Lifelong Learning Centre and you can always talk about careers with them as well. But it's really useful to know there is also a careers centre on campus. So another question. Which high street shop has an archive on campus? So Woolworths, Marks and Spencer's, Debenhams or Harvey Nichols. And use the slide or in the chat, guys, so it's completely up to you. So B, a couple of people have put B, A. Everybody? Yes, so again, it's B, so it's Marks and Spencer's. So this is somewhere that you probably would never even think exists if you've never been on campus. I know I miss Woolworths too. So yes, I miss Woolworths, but Marks and Spencer's archive is a great place, and you can go, they do loads of different exhibitions. You can go have a look round, you can learn loads about the clothes and the history of Marks and Spencer's, and it's really quite interesting. So yeah, so we do little tours and like little visits there as well with our students, but again, it's somewhere that they do, if you Google it, they do have loads of different things you can go to. In fact, I might be right in saying they did like a free wine tasting night one night, which I might be, but I'm pretty sure Paul went. So yeah, so it's a really interesting place for history and partly it's great. I know, wine night. So we'll move on. So this is sort of a hidden part of campus. So I'll just read what one of the students said about this. So one of our learning champions, Jenny, said that St George's Field history fascinates her. She's been to the special collection, so she's found out a bit more about the history of this place. But it's like an oasis. It's in the middle of a busy campus, and it's like stepping through a secret door and transported somewhere else. It feels magical. So again, the top right picture probably sort of gives you a bit of a hint, but it does really, when you go to this place, it feels so special. Nobody knows it's there. Go on, Russell.
I completely agree. There's been times when sometimes work gets a little bit on top of you, and it's a lovely place to go and just walk through and just unwind. It's really peaceful.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth finding if you go on campus.
Yeah, definitely, and it's not that easy to find. So it sometimes you might need to ask people, but it really is a sort of a real gem on campus, and you can sort of see here, it's sort of this green, you can see the crypt here, but it's quite a massive, large green space right in the middle of campus that's just surrounded by the Leeds campus. Nobody knows it's there, especially if you're not a student. So, but some of the history about St George's Field, so it was the Leeds General Cemetery, so also known as Woodhouse Cemetery, and it's closed in 1969. So now it's obviously owned by the University of Leeds, and it's been landscaped since, and it's been kept as an open space. So yeah, so it does still have obviously some of the headstones and things there. One of the famous people is a circus proprietor, Pablo Funk. So he was mentioned in the Beatles song, being for the benefit of Mr. Kite from the Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band LP. So that's a famous person for you. But yeah, so it is just a really fascinating place to go. So I definitely recommend going there. So next stop is the Leeds University Union. So this place is for students and it's run by students. It's actually not got anything to do with the University of Leeds, as in that we don't have, as the University of Leeds, any say over what they do and vice versa, but we work together very, very closely. So if you ever had an issue, the Leeds University Union would help you. It's the heart of campus, so again, loads of the shops, there's cafes, bars, there's also a massive canteen that we call the refectory, which has got loads of different foods from across the world, and it's just a really sort of buzzy place to be. Yeah, the hub of activity, Russell, exactly. It really is in the centre of campus. There's also a student advice centre, so you can go for completely impartial advice about finances, if you accommodation, anything like that. Yeah, Humpit, again, Humpit's a great little shop that's in there, and they do great hummus bowls. But the University Union, I think, is still second in the country, so it's rated second in the country. It's an award-winning Leeds University Union, so I definitely recommend getting used to this space. There's also 3 different theatres on campus which do in this space, that do loads of different things like bands, plays. Yeah, so that, and again, tickets sometimes as well. It's a really good place to go. So, question. In the refectory, which band performed and recorded their album Live at Leeds here in 1970? So do we think it's A, B, C or D? B? Anybody else? B? A? Russell's seen the sign. So there's one of those blue plaques that you get outside the union that tells you who it is. So it's actually, yeah, it's somebody's put it, so it's C, The Who. Yeah, so The Who recorded a live album, and that image is actually of that gig inside the refectory, so it looks very different when you're actually in there with all the tables out and people eating. But yeah, so there's loads of different spaces in the union that are great and used for loads of different things. So next is the Great Hall. So the Great Hall is a building that looks a bit like Hogwarts from Harry Potter. So it's a wonderful building. And again, the red brick, if you've heard the term brick university, this is one of the reasons where it comes from. So it's originally sort of the Yorkshire College and one of the first parts of campus, so the oldest parts of campus. And this is where all the graduations take place. So obviously this time of year, there would be a graduation in July. There's also some in December. We also have an award and prize ceremony at the Lifelong Learning Centre here, which is a really nice event where we celebrate our students and their achievements. So just at the top right is actually a group of professional studies students that graduated a few years ago, but the archway, just through that archway, is Clothworkers Court. Yeah, so the arch doors, and they're wooden as well, Sinead. They're really, really nice. It's a lovely building. So through this archway at the top right, there's a Clothworkers Court, and again, one of our students, Helen, a Lifelong Learning Centre student, has said that she loves this place. It's a really quiet part of campus. There's flowers, there's nice benches you can sit and just watch them go by. There's really nice, pretty old buildings, and she sort of often thinks about the stories it could tell of students that have passed by throughout the years. So yeah, so she really likes this part of campus. Also through this archway and to the right and further back, there's the disability services. So disability services is a place where students can go for help with any long-term medical conditions, if they've got any worries or if they need any support or help putting in place. You like Clothworkers Court as well, Russell? Yeah, it is. It's a lovely part of campus. Again, very different from some of the other places, like we've looked at E.C. Stoner and Roger Stevens. It's a very, very different looking building. So yes, I tried to find a way of showing you. So this archway is obviously through to Clothworkers Court, is just area here, and then through this doorway here, there's a little sort of corridor. and it brings you out into this space here, and this is disability services here. And just to give you a bit of perspective as well, this is St George's Field, so again the field that we saw earlier, and this here is that large Brotherton library that we saw right at the beginning with the large reading room. So again, the back of the Parkinson Building is just over here as well. So just to give you a bit of perspective to try to see where you are at the moment. So the Streaky Bacon, people call this loads of different things. Russell, what do you call this?
I had no idea. I didn't even call it a name. It was just that squiggly thing in the middle of campus.
Squiggly thing on the middle of campus. So yeah,
I never realised I'm going to have to call it the Streaky Bacon now. I'm going to have to tell the rest of them about that.
Lots of people call it different things. So Streaky Bacon, wavy black lines, the squiggle. So it's famous on campus just for being there, but not necessarily actually knowing what it is. And it's quite close to us as well, so it's quite easily identifiable for our students to know that they're near where the Lifelong Learning Centre is. So like I said, it's famous and it's known by loads of different names, but the real name is actually the Sign for Art. So it's the sign language for the word art, and it's meant to represent equality for all. So yeah, so there you go. So that's quite nice. Just to let you know as well, there is a public art trail around campus. So I can send you a link to that, or you can just Google Public Art Trail, University of Leeds, and there's actually 17 different pieces of art on campus, which you can look at, and they've got different descriptions. So again, just to give you a bit of a view, this is obviously campus again, and we've come from Parkinson and we've come sort of round here and all the way back and done a sweep, St George's Field and back. And just to give you a view, so these are all the different art objects on campus that have been done by artists. So you can actually do a nice little tour around campus as well. And some of you might have seen one of the newer ones, number 15. It's that column with the poem on it. It's a blue column that spins around and it's got a poem on it. So that again is one of the newer ones that you can see, but open to the public, and you can do that at any time. So again, just Google Public Art Trail, Leeds Uni. Okay, and then to the Marjorie and Arnold Ziff building. So as I showed you sort of near the beginning, yes, our home, Russell, I know. So Lifelong Learning Centre is in this building, but there's also the Student Service Centre, so it's good to know that that's in there as well. So that's where you would go to register if you've got any issues with fees or finance or anything like that. So the Student Service Centre is in this building, and also the Vice Chancellor's office. So he is like the headmaster of the university, if you like, and his office is also in this building. So we're quite privileged to be in this building as well. And the Lifelong Learning Centre is just at the other side of this building in the west entrance. So this is the east entrance, you can see. We're just along the glass front and in the west entrance at the back. So again, just to give you a little bit of perspective where it is. So this is the Parkinson Building where we started at the beginning. And then this is the Marjorie and Arnold Ziff building. So it's not far from the Parkinson Building at all if you've not been on campus before. So the Lifelong Learning Centre, again, if you don't know again what we offer, you can see here these are all our students. A lovely resource area that we've got just out of the office, so there's staff going through here all the time, so you can ask us questions. Students use it to revise or to help each other when they're studying. We've got a welcome desk, so you can come and just ask us anything at any time, again, when obviously we're on campus again. So you visited us a few times, that's great, Solomon. Again, again, I miss running the family events, so you can see here our current students with all their kids here. This was our Halloween party last year. This is me here with my witch hat on. Yeah, so I miss that. So again, we do different family events. Kids are always welcome, and we've got a nice big space upstairs that you can use for studying, which is often quite quiet. So it's just a really nice to be on campus. We offer loads of different stuff, career support, like I've said, pastoral support, academic skills, just like the skills at library, but we also offer that as well, and specialist dyslexia support. finished. And I just really would love to know what has surprised you about campus. So I hope you've sort of learned something about campus, and you sort of feel, even though it's really sad we can't be on campus, you sort of feel excited by campus, and you maybe want to visit certain places now you didn't know were there before. But really would love it if you put it on the whiteboard, just maybe type a couple of things, what has surprised you about campus. Yeah, how many countries are represented? Yeah, it's big, but it is really very big. Yeah, the vast monument. I'm guessing you mean the crypt. Do you mean the crypt there, the crypt on St George's Field? Anything else that you've been surprised about? Hi Fiona as well. Sorry, I was. Thank you for coming. Anything else that we've been surprised about? How much variety of architecture? Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. There's so many different buildings. Like I say, you can see the Ziff building's a pretty new building, but then you look at things like Great Hall, which are really probably from, you know, like from when the university started in 1831, are really, really old buildings as well. Grade 2 listed buildings. So yeah, George's Field, and how many mature students? Lovely. That's great. Thank you, guys. Okay, we'll move on. Oh. So again, just thinking about where we've been today, is there anywhere where you're going to visit on campus? When we're allowed back on campus, where is the first place you're going to visit? And I'm going to do this as well. Anywhere you want to visit on campus that you didn't know was there, or a place that you miss if you've been on campus before? Sustainable garden, yeah, that's good. Get some fruit and veg. I don't even know what that'll look like, because I suppose people won't be able to volunteer on there at the moment, so it might look pretty wild at the moment, but definitely somewhere to visit. Yeah, looking at the art, that's definitely something. We do the art trail sometimes. Again, myself and a colleague Paul, we sometimes do the art tour and ask students if they want to come along with us. So again, Linda, yeah, we can get somebody so we can give you your phone number. I don't know, Olivia, if you've got it to hand, you put it in the chat earlier. Got a telephone number you can ring now. There we go. So Olivia's just popped that in there, Linda. So you can ring that telephone number and speak to Daniel. He's actually off today. Daniel's not here today, but if you ring him on Monday, Linda, he can book you in for an appointment. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. Some lovely places, Lifelong Learning Centre, yes, Student Service Centre, student. So lovely that we've got a nice broad amount of things there that you want to visit, which is wonderful. And building, Russell, yeah. Olivia?
Yeah, I may have wandered off, but did someone have a question about libraries? I just wanted to reiterate that the number of libraries on campus. Am I right in thinking there are 4 main libraries, and then some departments have got their own as well?
Yeah, so I mentioned there's 4 libraries on campus. The one that we haven't visited, Edward Boyle Library. So we've seen the Brotherton Laidlaw and the Health Sciences, but the Edward Boyle Library is one that is not far from EC Stoner. It's sort of in between EC Stoner and us, and it's been renovated more recently than the Laidlaw, so it's quite new inside, but it is in an older building, and that does have a variety of books as well. They have education books and quite a lot of business management books, I believe. And Russell, do you know what else they house in there? Do you ever use it?
It's not one I've used a lot of. I tend to spend most of my time at the Laidlaw and Brotherton, but I've heard some that have gone in there. They reckon it's really varied.
Yeah, I think it is quite varied, like similar to the Laidlaw, but again, it's got really nice group space work in there as well now, I believe, Russell, hasn't it? They've done quite a lot of work to try and make it more group orientated, similar to Laidlaw.
It's definitely changed. It's a lot nicer space than it used to be.
Yeah. They're the 4 main ones on campus.
And there's a lot of resources as well online. So for mature students who might be busy and have other responsibilities and not be able to travel in as regularly, you can access lots of your journal articles and different reading lists online from home, as long as you have a good internet connection. So that can be really useful as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Minerva is a place where it's an online place where a lot of tutors will put links to resources and things. So, and again, I presume the library's probably doing even more now to make things more accessible online, since we've obviously gone to remote working. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of different accessible resources that you can get. So this is where we've been, so just to remind you again, so you can see where we've been on this nice little loop all the way around, sort of the middle of campus. We've left out the end, but you can see again in context where everything is here. So this is Leeds City Centre. You can see the First Direct Arena. This is Hyde Park over here, and Kirkstall's just down there. So that's the campus tour, people. So we've seen quite a lot of different places. Has anybody got any questions? So I've also created a virtual campus tour. So this is something that you probably do need quite good internet connection for, I'm afraid, but it does give quite a good view of going into campus and sort of what the buildings look like. So if anybody wants to do that in their own time, you can do. Olivia's very kindly put it in the chat for you, but there are obviously, you can sort of go into different buildings as well, and there's different sort of links to resources, including the public art trail, Joe, if that's something that you want to do. So yeah, so again, feel free to ask any questions. Russell, I'd like to just know, to finish off, where your favourite part of campus is.
There are a lot of I tend to spend a lot of time on the eastern end of campus. That's my sort of favourite area. The Brotherton, the Parkinson, the Arnold and Marjorie Ziff building. I don't know. I can't pin it down to just one place. There's a lot of different areas with their own characters. They have to all be seen to be believed. Yeah.
No, I think quite a few people feel like that. I think it depends what mood you're in and what day. There's so many different options that you spoilt for choice. But no, it's good to know that you like being on campus though, Russell, and you miss it like I do. But yeah, no, thank you very much everybody for coming. And again, if you've got any questions either for myself or Russell, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll hopefully see you at the next session. So Olivia, remind me when the next session is. Is it on Tuesday, the study?
Yes, so Tuesday at 3 p.m. we've got Studying for a Job You Love, which is a kind of careers information session to help you make the links between different degrees and different careers, because obviously, like these days, employers are looking for such a wide range of skills. It's good to keep your mind nice and open when you're thinking about what would be most useful to study. And then for anyone who missed the welcome sessions that we ran on Wednesday, we're doing another one at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the 1st of July. So I'm sorry, my dog's just started barking. But as you'll know by now, it's the same link for everything. So you can just come back to this Collaborate link. 3 o'clock Tuesday, 11 o'clock on Wednesday for the welcome session, and then we're going to be hearing from a whole panel of our learning champions on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So please do come to that, because it'll be a chance to ask mature students lots of questions. And the only taster we're running next week is another taster for the Arabic, Middle Eastern and Islamic Studies programme, and that'll be on Baghdad and the House of Wisdom. So another introductory look at Islamic history, and then loads more tasters the week after. Oh, great, Russell, you're joining us for the Learning Champion panel on Wednesday. So yeah, please do come to as many of those as you can.
And don't forget the Padlet as well, guys. I put it in the chat earlier, but if you're wanting to chat to other people on the Adult Learner Summer School, we've been putting resources on there. Again, link to the last welcome session. I'll put a link to the video of today's session as well, so you can watch it back, and a link to our YouTube channel, so you can always see other sessions that we've run. And again, always, if you've got any questions, just please do get in touch with us. And thank you very much for coming. You can leave the session by just using the 3 lines at the top left and clicking leave session. Again, Thank you very much for coming, guys.